Looks like we're less than a week away from getting the new micro drone from DJI called the DJI Neo. Baby version of the Avata 2, bringing in some of the mini features as well. A super lightweight model that is clearly aimed at a different market to the usual DJI camera or FPV drone users. Now, as is the norm, there's been a brilliant series of leaks from various sources, all helping to build the sense of anticipation. And so here I am today to add to that with a cheeky rundown of all the specs that are now confirmed so far, and crucially what I will be looking for in this brand new drone from DJI. Hello, I'm Ian and I play with drones, and here are some of the main models in my current collection from DJI, ranging from the mighty Mavic 3 through to the Air 3, the Avata 2 and the Avata 1 down there, and the mini series, of course. It's had so many iterations that frankly the collection carries on the shelves here, and I think I've got some more over the shelves at the back. Currently the helm of the mini series is the Mini 4 Pro. For how much longer, we don't know. But today I want to talk about the fact that if the rumours are correct, next week you will be able to get your hands on the new DJI Neo. Judging by the increasing frequency of retail website leaks, the stock is in and ready to ship. This will be DJI's lightest drone since the Little Rise Tele drone a good few years back. The Neo looks like a tiny version of the Avata and Avata 2 and is of course screaming out that it is a micro FPV drone. Sure enough, it will be controllable by the Goggles 3 and the Motion Controller 3 that ship with the Avata 2. So I will be really interested to see just how realistic the FPV experience is, especially as the gimbal is similar to the Avata and Avata 2, only going up and down in one direction. So as it flies, obviously, with its steeper pitch, camera needs to be able to look up, otherwise you'll just be seeing the ground. And obviously as it moves around to go left and right, you get that tilting horizon to give you the FPV feel. But the Neo will also have the ability to be controlled by the RC remote. They're bringing out a new RC3 controller that should give a more cinematic camera drone feel to non-FPV users, more used to flying the minis and the like. And for non-FPV flying, I'm going to be really wanting to see how it stabilizes the picture. As of course, without a 3-axis gimbal, it will be struggling to give a normalized camera drone view, if you like, with horizons that always stay horizontal. Now, Osmo Action and all of its iterations has got a lot of electronic image stabilization built in. So it's not like DJI can't do a good job at this, but it will be great to test it out and see just how good the results are. Otherwise, for the Neo, the specs seem pretty much what you'd probably hope for in an ultralight drone. I was reading through them. 1080p video transmission to the RC3 and a simple gimbal sporting a 1/2-inch 12 megapixel sensor with 4K video. You can see the slight differences in video output specs depending on whether or not you have the electronic image stabilization on or off. And when of course you have image stabilization switched on, it has to crop some of the outer picture in order to try and normalize and stabilize the picture. So that's why you won't be able to get the standard 4:3 resolution when you have the image stabilization switched on. What else? JPEG only for stills and only 75 megabits per second video bitrate, which is good, but it's not great. The Mini 4 Pro, for instance, has 150 megabits per second. Looks like no fancy shooting modes either. Nothing more than a self-timer for stills and straightforward video along with basic quick shots. No slow-mo mode, but again, given its size, it's not bad that ultimately you're going to be able to shoot 12 megapixel stills and get 4K video, which is ultimately what we use 95% of the time. But big deviation from the norm is the lack of a card slot for your micro SD card. Looks like the Neo is only going to have its own internal 22 gigs of internal memory to record the pictures and videos on. Now, this makes sense to keep the weight down, of course, but I always have a 128 or a 256 gig card in my drones. So a 22 gig storage space, if you like. That's a huge reduction in capacity for me. But that said, with the lower bitrate, I'm still hoping it's going to be enough for at least 20 to 30 minutes of 4K video and a truckload of stills. Despite that, you still need to be good at downloading, I guess, and deleting stuff to make sure you have enough space. And that will be hard if you're out on the road without a laptop. But then there we are. Let's see, what else have we got? Yes, other specs. Speed, flight speed is pretty good for such a tiny drone. 8 meters per second or 18 miles per hour, I think that's about in sports mode. It's okay, might seem slow. That's half the speed, I think, of the Mini 4 Pros. I think that's 16 meters per second. Interesting that its spec max speed is 16 meters per second in manual mode, which is another nod to the FPV capabilities. But I'm left wondering why you can only get that speed in manual mode. And will manual mode even be possible with the RC3 remote or the motion controller 3? I don't know. Seems a bit of a shame that you're kind of restricted with a lower top speed than it could otherwise fly at. Let's see. Oh, yeah, climbing and descending will also seem a bit slow as well. Just 3 meters per second max ascent speed in sport mode and only 2 meters per second descent speed, which is a lot slower. The Mini 4 Pro is 5 meters per second and way slower than the Avata 2's 9 meters per second in sports mode. So, going to be trundling up and trundling down. And of course, max speed will also have a direct impact on the wind resistance, or more specifically, its ability to fly in strong wind. Thankfully, the prop guards that you're seeing in all the pictures are removable. I do like to remove them because they normally just act like a sail in strong wind, but even so, it's got a spec wind resistance of 8 meters per second or level 4, which isn't too far off the probably far more powerful Avata 2, which has got a rating of 10.7 meters per second or level 5. That's the same as the Mini 4 Pro. Now, you all know how much fun I have with DJI drones and very strong wind, and that spec of 8 meters per second just seems, I don't know, a tad optimistic to me. So, truthfully, I cannot wait to do my best to lose this new little tiny beast somewhere over the South Downs whilst testing its ability to fly in strong wind. To me, if it could handle, I don't know, even half the strong wind that the Mini 4 Pro can, then I'll probably be impressed. What else we got? Battery life, interesting. So look, the specs max flight time is 18 minutes or just 17 minutes with the prop guards off. That tells me you're only going to get about 12, 13, maybe 14 minutes real flight time in the real world. But it's the notes that actually follow that in the specs that shows how, again, now this is clearly being aimed at the pocket selfie takeoff and shoot drone market that this model is obviously going after. It lists the battery will be enough for at least 20 hand takeoffs and landings. I've got to admit, that is a parameter I have never seen on any DJI model. And it's basically saying you're going to get 20 goes at a quick selfie in different locations before you need to change the battery. Not bad, just as well, I suppose, that there is a combo version as well where you get a couple of extra batteries. What else we got? Signal strength, scaled down, of course you'd expect. Spec max transmission, 10 Ks, about 6 miles, I guess, under full strength FCC mode, or just 6 Ks or 4 miles in non-US locations. Now, I have to admit, I always laugh at these figures. Anyone that has flown a Mini 4 Pro behind a tree will know how easy the signal can drop out. So having these lower transmission figures does not fill me with full confidence about the signal strength. That's it, I suppose. If we are to abide by the UK CAA guidance on visual line of sight, meaning you can tell the orientation of the drone by eye, I don't think you're going to be flying this tiny little model more than 10 meters away from you in the first place. On that, yeah, look, despite it not weighing much more than, I don't know, a blackbird, this model will be subject to the same rules that the slightly bigger versions, the Mini 4 Pros and the like, are also subjected to. There is no differentiation in rules for lighter models once you get under that 250 gram mark. But look, anyway, that's about it for now. Hopefully, only a few more days until we get our hands on this. New model, it's clearly aiming for the more casual user who just wants a quick, simple selfie or a little bit of video. It's nowhere near an Avata 2. Neither is it near a Mini 4 Pro. So I would love to know your thoughts. Is this something that is going to sit very well in your day pack, or would you just not be touching it with a barge pole? I do, as ever, always love reading through your comments. Drop some below. If it's not for you, please do not hit that thumbs down button. It's simply going to tell YouTube you don't like my videos, which I don't know. If you don't, then maybe do click that down and I won't be recommended. Either way, I'd be much happier if you hit that thumbs up button, even if this tiny new little model is not for you. Fun week ahead. Till next time, have fun. Happy flying.